Hello. So today I decided not to decide. I decided not to plan or figure out what topic I was going to talk about in this video. Instead, I chose to receive guidance right when I turned the camera on. I just went and I asked, okay, Spirit, what is it that I need to talk about to share today? And what I received was actually the topic of listening to guidance. When I was younger, I was just completely paralyzed by decision making. I would think of a decision I had to make, and I would think of one option, and then I would think of all the possibilities of what could happen if I decided that. And then I would do the same thing of if I took this other path. And what ended up happening was I found that there's so many variables that it was like impossible to predict what was going to be the best outcome, because we never really know. We might think that we know, but to truly know with all of the potential variables, it's impossible for us to make right decisions coming from a place of thinking that we know. When I was in college, and even deciding which major to choose was such a big deal, and I would think about all of the possibilities. If I took this course, if I took these sets of courses, then this would lead to this in my life and this in my career. It was just way too overwhelming, especially because I had so many things that I was interested in. Making decisions doesn't need to be so difficult, and I thought that it was. And there was a point in grad school where I remember I did a whole essay, I did a whole report on the topic of decision making and leadership. And at that point in my life, I had decided that, it's impossible to figure out what was the best thing to do. So I would do something like flip a coin or use a pendulum, or sometimes I would write up all the different options in pieces of paper, fold them up into little balls, and then shake them in my hands until there was only one option left. And that seemed to serve me well, because it really just didn't keep me stuck in being indecisive. It just allowed me to say, you know what, sure, that's fine. Because if you're stuck making a decision, it's usually between two good things. If you have to make a decision between something really good and something bad, it's not really a difficult decision to make. You just go with the thing that's good. But when you can't quite figure out or discern which one is better, then sometimes it's easier just to say, it doesn't matter that much. And so that's what I would do. I had my special flipper coin that I got when I was in England, and I would just follow that. Even major decisions, there was some part of me that felt there has to be some better way to make decisions, and I just didn't know it, and I didn't know how. And in time, I learned a lot of different techniques through theta healing, muscle testing, or just praying or meditating and going really deep, allowing myself to be really quiet and to hear and to receive, to be open to receive the guidance of what I should do. And I learned that it works every single time. If I have the willingness to really listen and to receive information or guidance of what is really for my highest good to do right now, there's always the answer. Our minds aren't trained to think in that way. We're used to analyzing and deciding based on logic, but in order to receive guidance, you have to kind of let that go. You have to let go of knowing. You have to let go of knowing that you can know, that you think you can know, that you think you know better. So the first step is actually letting go of your ideas of what you think you should do. And sometimes it's not easy when we feel all this pressure to do things, to complete things, and to do things a certain way, to society standards or your own or whatever. But sometimes, you really have to just let go. And you have to get quiet. It's easier to hear these subtle messages when you're quiet. And I don't mean just being in a space that's quiet. If your mind is constantly running and chattering and telling you what to do or what you want, or replaying things that went wrong in the day or that you want to do in the future, you're not really allowing the silence to come in. So you really do need to practice getting quiet. Even if it's for a little bit, it can help. And once you allow yourself to get really quiet, then you can just simply ask, what is for my highest good to do right now, or tomorrow, or in my life? You can ask that and you'll receive some answer. I'm doing that right now. I'm going to ask, I'm going to stop, I'm going to pause, I'm going to allow myself to get really quiet, and I'm going to ask, what do I say right now? And I invite you, if you're watching or listening to this, to do the same. So what I received right now to do was to share love. And I guess that's a reminder to talk about how do you know when you're really receiving guidance, or if it's just your mind or your ego. You know when you're hearing guidance, true guidance from the Spirit, when it feels loving, when it feels warm, when it makes you smile, when it brings a sense of peace. Like for me, just now, I received this share love, share love in everything that you do. And what I saw, like I saw a visual too, was it didn't really matter what I was doing, in what form it took, but just to have the focus of love. That could mean I could go down over to the kids' dorm and go and share love with them. Or it could mean creating this video and sharing love with whoever is actually watching this. Or it could mean with these cats of sharing love. Or it could just also be with myself in reading a book or doing whatever, but actually coming from the place of feeling in love. And that is the best thing that I could do. So I hope that you can allow yourself every day, multiple times a day, to just pause, listen, and ask. And from this A Course in Miracles community, I learned pray, listen, and follow. So that's an important part, is the follow part. Because you can sit, pause, and ask, and you can receive the most beautiful response of, yes, this is exactly what I should do. But when you know that you're following guidance is when you're actually taking action and following that. And not to say that if you don't follow that you should feel bad or you should feel guilty, but that's actually how to implement it, how to apply it. And I believe that's part of why we are in this experience, is not just understand these concepts in our minds, but to actually live it fully and integrate it. So I hope that you can follow and listen to your guidance, to that spirit, to that spark within you that knows exactly what is the best for you and everybody. Thank you. Bye for now.